Hi, RamNexus here with another frame rate analysis video. Today, we'll look at Avowed's unlocked frame rate mode on Series X. I'll show you some results, we'll discuss if this mode is worth using, and I'll describe a bug that you really need to know about. Okay, let's do this. Avowed uses Unreal Engine 5. As you probably know by now, it offers 3 graphics modes: Quality Mode, Balanced Mode, and Performance Mode. Quality Mode caps the game to run at 30 frames a second. It renders the game at 1440p, which is then upscaled to 4K. Balanced Mode caps the game at 40 FPS. It also renders at 1440p before being upscaled. Just be aware you can only see the Balanced Mode as an option in the graphics menu if your display supports 120Hz. The third option is of course Performance Mode, which has a frame rate cap of 60. For Avowed to hit 60 FPS, it sacrifices a couple of graphics features that Balanced and Quality modes have.
I know I feel safe with the guard presence around here.
Hey, like this video, that'd be great. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do similar content on the technical aspects of some video games. All the footage I used to analyse frame rate was captured in 1080p at 120Hz. My Elgato 4K-X can capture 4K 120, but not in a quality high enough that the FPS analysis software can work with, so 1080p it is, just so you know. I tested each graphic mode in 3 locations. Quality Mode stuck hard to its 30 FPS cap in all locations. Balanced Mode struggled a little at the docks, averaging about 38. And Performance Mode moved between 57 and 60 in the city and in the woods, and often went down to 54 at the docks. As we can see, Avowed hits its frame rate caps with just a little bit of wobble in the FPS graph. If you're playing on a display with variable refresh rate, you'd probably not even notice these wobbles. So, similar to what's been reported elsewhere, Avowed has no real problem achieving playable frame rates in any of its 3 modes. Quality Mode was the most solid, then Balanced, and then Performance, but even Performance Mode generated very playable results. So, which setting to use? Look, I know a lot of you would prefer a smooth 60 FPS game. I'm the same. I found the 40 FPS Balanced Mode to be the best of both worlds for this game. At 40 FPS, I think the frame rate here is good enough. There's also no upscaling shimmering, which you can see in the 60 FPS Performance Mode. Plus, we get software ray traced lumen lighting with Balanced Mode, so it looks good and it plays well. But can we do better? Well, that's where this unlocked frame rate mode comes in. The unlocked frame rate mode removes the FPS cap from all 3 graphics modes. So instead of sticking to 30, 40 or 60 FPS, your console will run flat out and force the game to generate as many frames as it can. To get access to unlocked frame rates, your display has to support 120Hz, and your display also needs to support variable refresh rate, VRR. If you have this, then an option appears in the game's graphics menu to toggle unlocked frame rate. Nice. Just make sure that your console is also set to output at 120Hz and you've got variable refresh rate enabled in the console menu. One of the downsides we see with some games running with an unlocked frame rate is that FPS can swing wildly from low to high very rapidly, and that is really noticeable and can be quite distracting. But it looks like Avowed doesn't have this problem, which is good news. With frames unlocked, Avowed definitely ran at a higher FPS, and fortunately, these results I have showed a slow FPS change over time, even during combat. There were no wild swings in FPS, and I'll go through the specifics in a sec. Just a quick note on screen tearing. As I've said, Avowed's unlocked frame rate mode only works if your TV or monitor supports variable refresh rate. One of the main goals of VRR is to remove screen tearing, which is very welcome. VRR on Xbox kicks in at 40 frames a second. So if you're playing the 30 FPS quality mode and then unlock frame rates, you're likely to see some screen tearing, as the frame rate is probably going to fluctuate between 30 and 40 FPS. That isn't a problem for balance and performance modes with unlocked frame rate mode enabled. But in this video, you might actually see some screen tearing in balance and performance unlocked frame rate modes because of the way I had to record the gameplay. Very quick technical explanation for those of you interested. Like many others, I use OBS Studio to record my game capture footage. Even though OBS can record my variable refresh rate footage, it can only record it as a fixed frame rate video. And what this means is, ironically, OBS actually reintroduces the screen tearing that VRR removes. Nice. So any screen tearing you see for balanced and performance unlocked frame rate modes is an artifact of the recording process. It's not in the actual game. I can't see it when I'm actually playing it. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. So on to the unlocked frame rate results. In quality mode, the FPS ranged from 30 up to 40. If you're stationary, staring off wistfully into the distance, then FPS jumps up to 80, which is pretty amazing. In balanced mode, we can often see high 40s to low 50s, and it rises as the scene being generated simplifies. I found it interesting that in balanced mode at the docks, the game struggled to hit 40 FPS when it was in locked frame rate mode. But as soon as I unlocked the frame rate, it started in the low 40s and went into the 50s. So it makes me wonder whether other graphic settings are also altered when the unlocked frame rate toggle is enabled. And as for performance mode, we see FPS scores of 70s to 90s depending on the scene. And when I'm stationary at the end of the run, it can hit up to 120. In all cases, I found unlocked frame rate increases FPS. At times, this increase is significant, but it depends a little on what kind of environment I was in and what I was doing, if I was moving about or not. These are impressive results. And what does this mean? For me, it means I can play in balanced mode as I've been wanting to and be comfortable that, first of all, I won't see any screen tearing and that the frame rate may actually hit 60 FPS. And that's a great result. Just as an aside, I'm confident that the capped frame rate results are true. But for the unlocked frame rates, the figures do seem surprisingly high at times. And I have to be honest, I've got no way to verify that they're correct. But I will say the FPS results in unlocked frame rate modes do change in a predictable manner based on what I'm doing, what I'm looking at, how fast I'm moving. So I have confidence enough to put it to a video and show it to you. I actually anticipate Obsidian is being conservative with their graphics settings and just trying to ensure as fewer dips as possible in capped frame rate mode, which makes sense as that means we end up with smooth running gameplay. Now, there is one big issue I need to report. Listen, I don't like making negative videos, but it's important for me to mention that as of the 22nd of March, Avowed's unlocked frame rate mode is broken. Specifically, there are times that the game will be set in unlocked frame rate mode, but it will actually be running with locked frames, where even though it says unlocked frame rate mode is enabled in the menu, it isn't enabled. I found that if I load up Avowed with its unlocked frame rate setting enabled, it actually loads the game with the FPS cap still on, even though the menu says unlocked frame rates is enabled. This happens whether I'm playing in quality mode, balanced mode, or performance mode. I found there is a way to overcome this though. Whilst in game, I go back into the menu, go to the graphics setting, select the unlock frame rate mode option, press X to apply that setting, then re-enable the unlocked frame rate mode, and again press X to apply the setting. Then I go back into the game, and the frame rate cap has been removed. And here's a video showing it works every time. So this is a bug, obviously. I think it happened every time I started up the game with unlocked frame rate mode on. Once I was certain it was a bug, I did get in touch with Obsidian and gave them a detailed report of what I'd found. To their credit, within a few hours they got back to me, and it wasn't just a template response or some AI-generated email. It was from one of their support staff. And besides the thank you, which was nice, they were very clear that the information would go to their Xbox implementation team. And they may get back to me, they may not, they haven't yet, but that's okay. It's only been a couple of days. I guess the point I want to make is Obsidian know about the bug. They were quick to respond to me about it in a positive way. They also know that I was collecting this information for a planned YouTube video, which is what you're watching right now. So there we have it. Even though the unlocked frame rate mode is broken, I anticipate will be fixed in the future. You can fairly quickly and easily overcome the error, play the game in unlocked frame rate mode, and see significant increases in FPS, which is exactly what we want. So that's a good result. All good. I hope this video is good news for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like this video. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I do similar content on the technical aspects of some video games. All right, thanks for watching. Cheers. Ramnex is out.